it was about a year and a half after I had shaved my head, and I was still trying to find my sense of style and where I fit in the world. I found that when I dress as very feminine, I feel like I'm in drag. When I dress as very masculine, I feel like I'm in drag. And you know that feeling of being in drag, where you're just wearing clothes that aren't you. And it might be your gender, it might be somebody else's gender, but it's just, you feel like you're in a costume. And every time I had ever tried to fit in, I felt like I was in costume. And so I was trying to find this balance, and I found that androgyny really spoke to what I felt most comfortable in. So I went, and I was looking around me, and nobody else was androgynous. I was like, all right, I need some role models here. So I dug through Flickr and tried to find photos of androgynous people, and I found that there was actually like this thriving community, but it was very buried. You had to search for the right terms. And actually searching for terms has been problematic because there's poor representation of black people on the site. And my black friends have explained to me that black people don't call themselves androgynous and genderqueer, those are white words. And so, trying to increase representation. But, see, I've already lost track. How did I start? I was collecting the photos and just trying to make like a bookmark set for me. I'm a blogger, I've been blogging for 10 years, so the most logical place for me to organize it was in a blog, and it just made sense to make it public if other people cared. And it turned out lots of people cared. And so, the readership was quiet for the first year because it was just photos. People weren't really sure what to talk about in the comments. Occasionally I'd get like a beautiful photo, but that was it. But I was watching like the blog stats and finding that hundreds of people were reading it daily, and I was like, oh, that's weird. So it just expanded from there. I haven't found anything that's like what we have, and I think that is why it is thriving. One of the things that we are careful about is curation. We keep it very focused. It's fairly mainstream friendly. It's not, if you get into genderqueer culture and circles, you can get into the gay pride parade where everybody's just like, oh my god, I'm awesome and flamboyant, and it actually kind of freaks out mainstream a little bit and is uncomfortable for people. So when you look at pictures of people who are androgynous or showing ambiguity in gender, some of them are really intriguing and some of them are really uncomfortable, and we aim for the really intriguing ones. And so that angle has made it more friendly for people who are not genderqueer but are really interested in getting comfortable with it to be able to look at the pictures. It's made it much easier for closeted and isolated people who are dealing with some self-hatred issues to be like, oh, I'm actually not that weird because these people fit what I consider beautiful and other people think it's beautiful, so I must be okay. There's also, in addition to the not genderqueer but wanting to get more comfortable with genderqueer people audience and the isolated and closeted, trying to get a handle on my middle ground gender audience, there's also early transitioning trans people that are joining the site and trying to find themselves in it. And if your path is, I was born assigned to this gender and raised as this gender, but I feel like I'm this other gender and I'm going to change my life to fit that gender, there's usually a few years of serious, painful awkwardness where you don't look like on the outside how you feel on the inside, and you're trying to work on it, and so for the outside, people are a little uncomfortable around you and trying to get a handle on it. And what the site has been doing is it's been creating a representation of it's okay and it's beautiful to be in the middle ground. And so the way people who are transgender, like binary transgender, I was one and I'm going to the other, interact with the people who are fuck the binary, I'm in the middle and I'm something different. There's this very subtle tension sometimes that we have to be careful about not starting fights over whether or not there are two genders. Because it's life or death for some people. Like, you have to be really careful about those fights because you can really deeply, seriously offend people if you say the wrong thing and aren't, willing to listen if somebody says, hey, that didn't hit me the right way. Ouch.